Demons walk among us every day, hiding in plain sight, disguising themselves as friends, family members, and even lovers, while they subtly drain your energy, dismantle your confidence, and demolish your sense of self-worth. The most disturbing part? These demons don't have horns or pitchforks. They look exactly like everyone else. That's why so many people don't realize they're being manipulated until it's far too late. In this video, I'm going to reveal 5 unmistakable signs that someone in your life might actually be a demon, not in some religious or supernatural sense, but in terms of how they impact your daily life and emotional well-being. These signs often go unnoticed because they're subtle at first, but once you learn what to look for, you'll never be fooled again. Trust me, recognizing these demons early on could save you from years of pain, confusion, and heartbreak. I strongly urge you to watch this entire video without skipping ahead. If you're short on time, watch it at 1.5x or 2x speed, rather than missing critical information that could protect you from these toxic influences. The insights you gain in the next few minutes might be exactly what you need to finally free yourself from the demon that's been draining your life force from the shadows. Let's jump right in. Have you ever had that friend who calls you out of the blue, unloads all their issues on you, and somehow by the end of the call you feel like you've been hit by a freight train while they sound completely refreshed? That's not an accident. That's energy vampirism in action. I'm not referring to a fictional vampire from some gothic novel. I'm talking about someone who literally feeds off your emotional and mental energy. These demons have perfected the craft of emotional siphoning, and the terrifying part is that they do it without you even noticing. Think about this. You spend a couple of hours with someone, and afterward, all you want to do is collapse on your couch. Your head hurts, your limbs feel like they weigh a ton, and you somehow need a nap, even though you weren't doing anything physically strenuous. That's a glaring signal you might be dealing with a demon. These emotional vampires are experts at making every conversation revolve around them. You could be in the middle of talking about how your pet just died, and within moments they've shifted the topic to their own experience with a fish they had in 3rd grade, which, according to them, was so much more traumatic. They interrupt constantly, dominate every interaction, and leave no room for your thoughts or feelings. Here's the part that should really make you think. Watch them closely. While you're left feeling completely drained, they seem to be more energized than ever. That's not a coincidence. That's because they literally absorbed your energy. These people can't generate their own emotional vitality, so they leech it from you instead. Compare that to your healthy relationships. After spending time with real friends or loved ones, you might feel tired, but it's the kind of tired that feels good. Like you've been truly connected, supported, and uplifted. There's a natural give and take of emotional energy. That's what a real human interaction looks like. With demons, though, it's all take. You give and give and give until you feel like an emotional husk, and they walk away more alive than they were when they arrived. If you want to confirm whether someone in your life fits this pattern, try this simple energy check. Before meeting them, mentally assess how you feel, your energy level, your emotional state, your general well-being. Then, immediately after your interaction, check in with yourself again. If you consistently feel depleted, fatigued, anxious, or even mildly depressed after being around this person, that's a major red flag. And don't let them convince you that you're just being too sensitive or not setting enough boundaries. That's exactly what they want you to think. That's part of their programming. The truth is, no normal, healthy relationship should leave you feeling worse afterward every single time. So that's the first unmistakable sign that someone in your life might be a demon. They're an emotional vampire who leaves you utterly drained after each encounter, feeding on your life force while offering absolutely nothing in return. Let's move on to the second sign. This one is terrifying because it's executed so slowly and so subtly, you won't even realize it's happening until it's already done. They are methodically isolating you from everyone who genuinely cares about you. And the most dangerous part? They're doing it in such a way that you think it's your own idea. I once knew someone, we'll call her Bella. She had a vibrant social life, close ties to her family, and a large circle of loving friends. Then she met this new person who seemed wonderful at first, but within 6 months, Bella had all but disappeared from her usual life. She stopped returning messages, declined invitations, and drifted further and further away from everyone she once held dear. When I finally saw her again, she was barely recognizable. She was quieter, constantly second-guessing herself, and completely convinced that everyone but this new friend had turned their backs on her. The truth? That so-called friend was a demon who had methodically isolated Bella from her support system. This kind of isolation doesn't happen overnight. It's done with surgical precision. It begins with small comments, subtle little suggestions that plant seeds of doubt in your mind about the people who love you. Did you notice how your sister seemed a little cold to you at dinner? Your friends only seem to reach out when they need something. I don't think your co-workers actually respect you. They'll take normal human flaws and twist them into evidence of betrayal. They'll find the tiniest cracks in your relationships and exploit them relentlessly. Then they'll start forcing you into false dilemmas. They'll say things like, "Oh, so you're going to your dad's birthday instead of coming to my event? Wow, good to know where your priorities lie." Suddenly, choosing anyone but them becomes a betrayal. The guilt trips ramp up fast. They'll stage emotional emergencies whenever you make plans with others. Somehow, always at the exact moment you're about to leave. And once you cancel, surprise, the crisis magically disappears. All the while, they're reinforcing this idea that only they understand you, only they truly care, that what you share with them is deeper and more profound than anything you've had with others. Before you know it, you're making fewer and fewer phone calls to your family. You're declining invitations you would have jumped at before. And when you think about bringing this person around your other friends, you hesitate. Maybe you feel nervous or ashamed. That's because on some level, you know something's off. Here's a way to test if this is happening in your life. Ask yourself, has my social world shrunk since this person came into my life? Have I lost contact with people I used to feel close to? Do I avoid telling others about this relationship because I'm worried about how they'll react? That's not you being antisocial. That's intentional isolation, an incredibly effective manipulation tactic. When you're alone, you're easier to control. Without your support system, there's no one to remind you of who you were before they came along. No one to validate your suspicions or help you break free. Humans need multiple relationships to stay mentally and emotionally balanced. Anyone who tries to monopolize your time, attention, and affection is doing it for a reason. They don't want competition. They want you all to themselves. That's the second sign of a demon in your life. They're stealthily cutting you off from everyone else who loves and supports you, creating a bubble in which they are the only voice that matters. Now, let's talk about the third sign, and this one is perhaps the most psychologically damaging. It attacks the very foundation of your reality. I'm talking about reality distortion, when someone manipulates your perception of what is real and what is imagined. Have you ever had a conversation with someone, remembered exactly what was said, only to have them deny it later so convincingly that you start questioning your own memory? That's not forgetfulness. That's not miscommunication. That's gaslighting. a sinister form of emotional manipulation where they make you doubt your sanity. These demons will tell you with absolute certainty, "I never said that," even though you remember their words with clarity. They'll promise something and later insist it never happened. They'll move your keys or wallet and then suggest you're the one losing your mind. What's more disturbing is how they flip the script during arguments. You'll come to them, hurt, trying to calmly express how something they did made you feel. But by the end of the conversation, you're the one apologizing. Somehow they've twisted the situation so that you're the one at fault. They're like masters of emotional judo, using your own momentum and good intentions to throw you off balance. They'll rewrite history, invent new facts, and turn innocent interactions into ammunition. And if we are simply eating the elements, whether by resharing, they're not just lying to you, they're actively rewriting your reality. And if you're around it long enough, you'll start to feel disoriented, unsure of your own thoughts, unable to trust your memories. That's exactly where they want you. Confused, vulnerable, and easy to control. I've never liked that friend of yours, even though they always acted perfectly friendly until just the other day. They create a constantly shifting version of reality where you can never seem to find solid ground. What makes this tactic especially effective is how they exploit your emotions against you. They know exactly when you're feeling vulnerable, overwhelmed, or drained, and that's precisely when they launch their reality-twisting attacks, because in those moments, when you're emotionally weakened, you're far less likely to trust your own instincts or judgment. The consequences of living inside this warped version of reality are deeply damaging. You begin questioning everything, your thoughts, your memories, your emotions. You wonder, maybe I am overreacting, or maybe I did imagine that conversation. This relentless internal doubt chips away at your self-confidence, leaving you even more reliant on the demon to interpret what's real and what's not. A powerful way to fight back is by keeping a private journal of your interactions. Record major conversations, promises, and incidents as soon as they happen. This gives you an objective reference point, something solid and untouchable, so when the demon tries to convince you an event never occurred, you have written evidence that affirms your version of reality. If you're constantly feeling mentally exhausted trying to figure out what's real and what's been distorted in your relationship, that's not a healthy sign. Stable relationships bring clarity. They don't foster confusion. This distortion of your reality is the third sign that someone in your life could be a demon. And before we continue on to sign number 4, take a moment to reflect on how impactful this awareness already is. Recognizing these signs truly is life-altering knowledge. Most people never identify these behaviors until it's far too late. If this message is resonating with you, then stay on this path. Wake up to these quiet manipulations happening around you every day. Now, the fourth sign that someone in your life might be a demon is among the most disturbing and disorienting behaviors you'll ever experience. It's the Jekyll and Hyde switch, the complete personality transformation from charming to cruel with zero warning. And make no mistake, this isn't just a matter of someone being moody or having a rough day. This is intentional, a calculated, deliberate shift meant to destabilize you. One moment they're warm, thoughtful, and engaging, the kind of person who wins everyone over. In public, they're magnetic. Everyone loves them. Your friends praise them. Strangers compliment your dynamic. You're made to feel like the luckiest person in the world. But in private, everything changes. The mask drops, and what's revealed underneath is cold, biting, and often terrifying. You'll find yourself confused, wondering what you did wrong, what invisible line you crossed. Was it a word, A glance, a moment of silence? Or was it nothing at all? Living in this constant unpredictability traps you in a heightened state of stress and anxiety. You're always watching your tone, adjusting your body language, calculating your every move, just trying to keep the peace and prevent the next explosion. This is how they maintain control. The fear of their sudden mood shift keeps you compliant, careful, and emotionally dependent. One of their most manipulative techniques is what's known as love bombing. In this phase, they smother you with affection, compliments, extravagant attention, even gifts. You feel cherished, adored, like you're finally being seen for who you truly are. But then, just as quickly as the affection poured in, it vanishes. You're left in the cold, unsure of what changed or how to fix it. That sudden withdrawal is deliberate. This creates what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, a psychological trap rooted in unpredictability. The inconsistency becomes addictive. You chase the highs, tolerate the lows, and lose track of how damaging the cycle really is. You keep trying, giving more, sacrificing pieces of yourself just to get another moment of that fleeting affection. Here's the difficult truth. That inconsistency isn't random, it's orchestrated. It keeps you emotionally unstable, so you don't have the clarity or strength to question the relationship. The chaos becomes your normal, and in that state, they have full control. If this feels familiar, start documenting the cycles. Notice the patterns. When do they become affectionate? What precedes their cruelty? How often does the shift happen? Writing this down can be a jarring wake-up call. When you see the roller coaster laid out plainly, it's hard to keep pretending it's just mood swings or misunderstandings. Remember this, in a healthy relationship, people may have bad days, but they don't morph into completely different people. They don't revere you in front of others and ridicule you behind closed doors. They don't manipulate your emotions through unpredictable waves of affection and aggression. Consistency builds trust, and without it, a relationship becomes a battleground. This Jekyll and Hyde behavior is the fourth unmistakable sign that someone close to you may be a demon. No matter how intoxicating the good moments are, they can never outweigh or excuse systematic emotional abuse. Your peace is not an acceptable price to pay for occasional warmth. Now let's turn to the fifth and final sign, and this one cuts deeper than any of the others. It's soul theft. This is when a demon gradually steals your identity, your voice, and your sense of self, until you hardly recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror. Take a step back and think about who you were before this person entered your life. What were your passions? What filled you with joy? What dreams kept you up at night in the best way? What made you, you? Now compare that to who you are today. How many of those qualities remain? If you're like many who've been entangled with these soul-stealing demons, the answer is painful. Somewhere along the line, your light dimmed, your laughter faded, your ambition vanished under layers of self-doubt, fear, and guilt. These demons rarely attack your spirit head-on. Instead, they chip away at it little by little. They won't say your dreams are idiotic, not directly. Instead, they'll cloak their sabotage in concern. That sounds nice, but don't you think it's a bit unrealistic? Or, I'm just looking out for you. I'd hate for you to get disappointed. Each comment, each passive-aggressive remark, each subtle dig plants seeds of uncertainty, and over time, those seeds grow into massive, entangling vines of self-doubt. They question your choices under the guise of helping. Are you sure you want to wear that? It might give people the wrong idea. You really shouldn't say things like that. It makes you sound uneducated. You're so lucky I'm patient enough to deal with your quirks. It all adds up. Soon, your inner voice, the one that used to be proud, fearless, and curious, starts echoing their voice instead. One of the most enraging parts? They'll claim your wins as their own. They'll dismiss your ideas, only to repeat them later as if they came up with them. They'll reframe your accomplishments as proof of their guidance and wisdom, not your talent or effort. They rewrite the narrative, making themselves the hero of your story, while casting you as someone too flawed to succeed without their influence. Slowly, but surely, they reshape your personality to better suit their preferences. Maybe you were once outgoing and bold, but they found that threatening, so they mocked it, chipped away at it, until you stopped speaking your mind. Maybe your sense of style, your hobbies, your laugh. Yes, even your laugh once made you feel alive, but they targeted those too. And now, they're gone. Perhaps most damaging is how they disguise their cruelty as help. I'm only saying this because I care. You should be grateful. I'm honest with you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't push you to be better. These phrases are not love. They're manipulation wrapped in false compassion. They break you down piece by piece while making you feel indebted for it. Ask yourself, how much of your energy is spent trying to fix yourself based on their criticism? How often do you second-guess decisions you once made confidently? How many parts of your identity have you hidden or discarded just to avoid their disapproval? The long-term damage of staying connected to someone like this is profound. You lose faith in your own judgment. You stop trusting your feelings. You become a shell, a version of yourself that exists mainly to avoid their anger and earn their approval. And worst of all, you start believing that this is normal, that this is what love looks like. But it's not. It never was. What you're experiencing is not love. It's possession, control, and slow destruction. These demons don't just break your heart. They steal your soul, rewrite your identity, and leave you doubting whether you ever mattered at all. And that is the fifth and most devastating sign, when someone drains the very essence of who you are until nothing remains but their reflection in your shattered self-image. But here's the reality they desperately hope you'll never realize. Everything they've taken from you still exists within you. Your true self hasn't vanished, it's simply been buried beneath the weight of their manipulation and lies. And with clarity, distance, and intention, you can begin to uncover and reclaim every single part of yourself they tried to erase. This form of soul theft is the fifth and most devastating sign that someone in your life could be a demon. But recognizing it, that's the beginning of your transformation. That's when your power starts returning to you. Now that you've seen the 5 signs, the emotional vampire who drains your life force, the manipulator who isolates you from your support system, the gaslighter who warps your grasp on reality, the shapeshifter who shifts between charm and cruelty, and the identity thief who gradually dismantles your sense of self, it's time to stop second-guessing and start trusting your inner warning signals. Recognition is just the beginning. Escaping their grip takes bravery and consistent action. Begin by slowly reconnecting with the people they tried to separate you from. Reach out to those old friends, that family member who always had your back, even if it's been a while. Those connections are still there waiting for you, and they're stronger than you remember. Rebuild your safety net, one thread at a time. Then make space between you and the demon. That could mean setting firm, immovable boundaries, or in many cases it might mean severing the relationship entirely. Don't underestimate how liberating that distance will feel. Healing won't happen overnight, but with each step, your spirit will begin to mend. Understand that this recovery journey may be complex and require support. Find a therapist who specializes in emotional abuse, narcissistic patterns, or trauma recovery. Don't try to carry this weight alone. You're not the only one who's lived through this kind of psychological warfare. Support groups, both online and in person, can remind you that you're not isolated. Books, communities, and education will help you rebuild your identity piece by piece. And above all, remind yourself of this essential truth. You are worthy of relationships that energize and uplift you, not connections that leave you drained and hollow. You deserve people who see your light, who nurture your uniqueness, who love you for exactly who you are, not those who try to mold you into something they can control. Now that you're awake to these patterns, going back would be like voluntarily stepping into a burning building after someone has pulled you to safety. The knowledge you now carry isn't just information, it's protection, it's armor, it's your roadmap to freedom. Use it, apply it, let it guide you forward. And if someone you care about is silently enduring the same kind of darkness, don't hesitate to share this with them. Your decision to speak up could be the hand they've been waiting for. The next part of your journey starts now. The video the YouTube algorithm has lined up on your screen is no coincidence. It's exactly what you need next. Click on it. Keep going. You're not just surviving anymore. You're reclaiming your life, and your future self is already thanking you for it.